Okay, here we are starting out from Seattle. You can see we got a bit of rain there. And I haven't reset the trip meter on it. So we're showing 305 miles. That's how far the distance was to Seattle from Spokane. Now we're going to complete this thing. We're going to go back to Spokane. Now I am starting out with 215 miles range average and 3.4 miles per kilowatt. Now, because I'm going to be increasing my altitude, I'm going to go from essentially sea level here to about 3,000 feet. Then we're going to come back down to anywhere between 1,000 feet and 2,500 feet throughout this run. It's going to be a net gain in altitude for this run, and this should compensate for the drop in altitude when they came down here. If you're doing some sort of test like this, you really need to make a trip there and back. If you just make it one way, it's going to be tweaked with how much altitude you have. Because these cars, I mean, altitude's everything. It's just like speed's everything in these things. You have to consider how much energy it's going to take you to go up, and you get some of it back on the way down. So I'm going to go through and I'll show you when we stop at the charging points. We're going to charge twice, and I'll look at some of the weather as we go through, and then we'll make a comparison when we're done, and we'll see what our average is. I also wanted to note on this that I'm going to be running about 65 for most of this trip. There's a few places I have to go down to 60, but for the most part I'm going to run 65 just like I did on the run coming over to Seattle. Okay, here we're pulling up into close to the summit. You can see the truck's being pretty slow. So we're going to be reaching the summit pretty soon. We're getting into a bunch more rain. Going to have a whole bunch more of it here right quick. And here we are. We've reached the summit, and we're going to start going on back down. We're going to drop down from 3,000 feet to about 1,200, I believe, at Ellensburg. Okay, here we are in Ellensburg on Main Street, and we're stopping at a quick stop here, and it took us 40 minutes and 22 kilowatt hour, 22.62, and it cost $14.33. We stopped off and had breakfast at a little cafe down the way, and we're on our way again. Okay, here we are at the Ryegrass Summit, and we're heading down. This is about 2,500, 2,700, I can't remember for sure. And off we go down, and of course you can see we're on regen and so on. And this is going to go down It's a real long hill right down to the Columbia River, and then we'll be pulling out of there. And here we are down at the Columbia River at the bottom of Ryegrass, and we'll be pulling right up out of here in a few minutes. Okay, now we're in Ritzville. Stop there. I got about 50 miles left on the car, and this is an EVgo station, and we're going to stop here and get charged up, and off we'll go. Just wanted to show you as I'm charging this thing. We're about 44 kW. It went a little bit higher than that when it first started, but that's pretty much what it's going to charge at. Didn't take a heck of a long time to get us enough charge to get back to home. And here's the invoice from this one, 26 minutes, 19.1 kilowatt hours, and cost $7. So that gives you a pretty good idea of how long you're going to stop and how many kilowatt hours you're going to add in to do this trip. Next, we're going to take the final leg of this thing, which is about 80 miles into Spokane. Now here you can see the picture on the bottom is in Seattle, and the picture on the top is in Spokane. So you've got both trips there with only 2 miles difference. And here we show the numbers. And it took me 83.1 kilowatt hours to get over there. Of course, I was going from 2,000 feet and then some up and down and then over the pass. And then I ended up down at about sea level. So it took a little less to get over there than it took to get back. And that's pretty much normal for the way it would be. So that's pretty much it on a round trip from Spokane to Seattle and back again. Pretty much give you an idea of what this electric vehicle is capable of.